Thank you so much, Shraddha. Did all of you had a good time discussing? Give yourself a huge round of applause. Come on, everybody. And now, quickly moving on to the last bit. It's not over until it is over. I want all of you to put your hands together for Carol to please come on stage. Give her a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our Director for Global Travel Events and Ground Transportation from Fidelity International. And along with that, we have our very beautiful Jess taking it over, ladies and gentlemen. Can we have a huge round of applause? She's a Senior Director and Partner at AltoVita. So they're not going to take much time, but over to both of you. Can we have the mics on, please?
Thank you so much. I'll take that as a compliment. I enjoyed that. So we've heard an awful lot about global mobility today, which has been fantastic, but now we're going to stick on our business travel hats and really look and compare and contrast a lot of the topics and trends that we've discussed this morning with Carol. So, as you heard, I'm Jess from AltoVita. I'm very, very happy to have Carol here with me. I feel very underdressed for the occasion. Carol holds India very, very close to her heart. So Carol, tell us a little bit more about your history and experience with India.
Welcome. And before I start talking about myself, I just think I'm really, really bad. I don't normally have paper in front of me, because if everyone that knows me says that Carol speaks from the heart, and if it's important to me, it stays with me, but I am terrible with names. So I'm going to start off by saying a really great thank you to all the speakers, and Samira, Carolina for inviting me, Jess obviously for having me on the panel, Rosie, and all the the speakers. So Shraddha, Mukta, Pasana, Rivi, Peggy, Shamila, Dr. Padmaja. When I go and travel, the reason why I come out is to learn. And everywhere I go, I find golden nuggets. And today, you've all given me those golden nuggets. I've got a book full of information, and my staff, I'm very, very privileged to have Vikas here, who's a member of my team. And when I go away, they're all coming back with, oh my God, she's going to be having us this, why are we not doing that? And my mantra is that our program has to be best in class. And I don't use that term loosely. But what best in class means is your culture and your appetite. It's not I'm copying EY, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. It's what best culture means to you. So let's talk about me, Carol. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. Yes, I do look like I've been in the industry for over 30 years. And I've had an absolutely amazing journey. But I've been with Fidelity for 6 years, and I say to people, everything that I've learned over those 30 years has brought me to this point. Okay? Yeah? Has brought me to this point. And I've been able to share my knowledge and my experiences with people as I travel around the world. India is a very, very precious place for me. I came to India 20 years ago. I used to work for another company, and they had an office in Mumbai. So my first experience of India was in Mumbai. Having worked with Fidelity, I then came to Delhi, and Bangalore is my first visit here. I've been in India for the last 15 days, and I've heard and seen the most beautiful things. When we talk about DEI, and part of DEI is our neurodiversity, our mental health. And when you come to India, one of the things that's really important is embracing the people here, the different cultures, the different way people behave, and really participating and being part of that, hence why I'm wearing a sari today. I thought it was really important that you guys know that I have embraced your culture and I feel a part of your community and your family. The other thing that I've heard, which constantly, and I wrote it down because I hope I say it in the right way, Aditi Devor Bhava. The guest is like God. Well, that touched my heart, because you do treat us like we're gods, and we need to embrace that, but make sure that we recognize and appreciate all the things that you do for us, and that we treat you in return as gods. So as a travel manager, I always say, and people say we work in partnership, and I think, well, what does that actually mean to you? Well, partnership for me means 50-50. It doesn't mean 80-20. It doesn't mean, 60-40. And it also means that one of the things that COVID has definitely showed us and shared with us is that we need each other. That collaboration between supplier and buyer, the things that happened during COVID, we could not have done it without each other. So even talking about the distances and not embracing, people are still today asking, is it okay for me to hug? I hug everybody. I love everybody. I'm about the people. And when we talk about ESG, for me, the people are the core to everything that we do. There will be no ESG without the people. So I believe that my role as the buyer is to be out here, hence why the 15 days that I've taken of my time to spend in India to truly understand who you are as a people and be able to go back to my community, my company, and say, there are differences, we have to embrace those differences, and it's not just a cookie cutter situation.
I think that deserves another round of applause. Thank you, Carol. So with that in mind, Mukta said that we are dealing with a multi-generational, very diverse population. So how can we enhance the assignees and the business travelers' experience?
I think, someone had said about sharing information and educating, and I think that's so important. I think it was Shamila that said about having the pre-selection, having those conversations and really understanding your people and what they want. It's no size fits all. I came to India with a perception that we had to have the best of everything in terms of the 5-star hotels, the 5-star residents. I was quite put in my place when people were saying to me, well, actually, we're not comfortable being in these hotels. We want a home-from-home feel. We want that co-living together where we are buddying with our travelers, we're getting to know our travelers, and there needs to be a space for everyone, and everyone has a space. And that's the things that we need to recognize. Do not go back and think, because they're going to London, that's how they want to live. They want to be in a 5-star service department, etc. What they want is someone's thought about my culture. Someone's thought about what I'd like to eat. Someone has thought about, I've never been to that country before. So how seamlessly and securely do I feel to get from A to B? How much information and pre-education has been given to me to give me a comfort? I mean, Vikas and the team laugh at me because I need my piece of paper. We talk about technology, but I'm old school. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, what happens if there's no Wi-Fi? Or I've forgotten to charge my phone? What good is that to me? But that's me. I'm from the older generation. I need that comfort. But the point I'm making is, that is what's important to me. So my team will give me my folder of bits of paper, and they'll go, that's for this and that's for that. I've come here, and I've just said, okay, what are we doing? Where do I go next? Where do I need to appear? And he's got everything sorted for me. I'm very, very lucky. But I think the point is, in terms of educating, you need to do that pre-selection. You need to understand your market. You need to understand your culture. And conversely, you need to be having those conversations with your suppliers. They cannot read your mind. They're not telepathic. You cannot complain about something if you've not even told them that that is what you require. So I think it's a two-way, going back to partnership. I think it's about engagement, and I think it's about education.
So then we've also then in turn heard a lot about automating, streamlining. How do you think we can tie technology into that while still ensuring that those very vital points aren't lost?
Okay. I had a conversation with someone about AI and the importance of using AI, and lots of people using it for their presentations, for the letters that they send out, etc. AI and technology has a place. But as with everything, it has to be used in the right way. What I've found with AltoVita is technology is key. That is their unique selling for them in terms of their technology, how they use it. But what they're bringing to the table is that flexibility. We are understanding and recognizing our people. We are having those conversations, and we're building the technology around your appetite, your culture, and what's required. So we have to embrace technology. There is no way we can shy away from it. In fact, there will become a time where parents, if they don't embrace technology, they will not be able to speak to their children because that's all they know. It will be like a different language. So we have to embrace it, but we also have to, in the same way with COVID, people were writing Bibles of guidelines and best practice. Half of it they didn't need, but it was very much about replicating and doing what others were doing, what they think you should be doing. That's not where you should be. You should be about what is my culture, what is my appetite, what is that will be acceptable, and almost build your technology in a modular way, but be prepared to grow and develop and surround yourself with people that will bring that innovation and inspiration into your surroundings.
Thank you. Prasanna highlighted the importance of predictability. So how important is predictability to you and to your accommodation program?
When we talk about predictability and we talk about cost in particular, I think it's really important that we think about our cost model and think about our overall cost. So it's the total cost of travel for that individual. So it's not just the bedroom space, it's about the per diem, it's about the transport, it's about the laundry. So I've heard a number of people say, costs have gone up and that we need to make sure that we are managing expectations. And as the global travel manager, absolutely. I go into those board meetings and I'm very clear about what the percentages are in each of the locations, not across the globe, but in India, you should expect this. In Asia, you should expect this. And then I say, this is what we are doing as an organization in order to mitigate those high costs. And someone also talked about value and cost. So we look at the value first. So it starts with the whole piece around the pre-selection. What are we looking for? What are the differences? What's important to that individual? And you almost have to have a menu of suggestions for your travelers based on where they're going, what they're looking for, what they have the appetite for, and their budgets. We look at somebody and I'll go into a shop, the two of us will be in there, and I know what my budget is and how much I want to spend. But the person next to me might have a bigger budget and they want more. So it's giving them that menu of suggestions and not making any assumptions and presuming that this person will want that. One of our senior people, I would have made the assumption that he wants to stay in a 5-star hotel or a 5-star service department. This gentleman stays in co-living, has home-cooked food. That's what's important to him, sitting around the table as a community, having home-cooked food. So it's not making the assumption, but having that menu of suggestions that allows you to have those open and transparent conversations.
I love that. One of the things that we were saying is that how important choice is, and then as well research. And you were saying that it's so funny how much research we put into when we travel for leisure, as opposed to when you're traveling for business and you kind of just go blindly, right? So Rabi said that we are exposed, and I thought that actually was impactful. That exposure, right? So how can we best manage that safety and security of our employees? Yeah,
I think it's a change in mindset. And you are exposed. Up against the hotels, especially in some locations, there will be people that will never, ever stay in a service department. Doesn't matter how you sell it to them. But what you need to do is sell the story, sell the dream. It's, as I said, it is not just housing. We call our program accommodation because what we're offering is choice. So I think that, we are exposed, and for a long time, the service department organizations and industry has been the underdog to the hotel. We have to accept that. But, looking at the data and what's showing us, especially in Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, and now Chennai, you are growing and developing your housing for the industry. You're recognizing our policy is travel less, stay longer. Music to your ears. But our policy is also anything over 6 days, you should first look at service departments, okay? But you need to give us something back that inspires and makes someone want to choose you over a hotel. And that's why I'm saying you need to look at embracing and giving selling a story from the moment that person makes that booking to the moment they arrive and leave. They need to feel they've had a total experience in terms of their travel. And it's not just I'm going from A to B. It's no, like I say with the airlines, it's no longer bums on seats. It's no longer a transaction. It is an experience. And so you are exposed, but you have a massive opportunity. You know, Carolina, no, I think it was you, Shadra, that said that the spend is 1.4 trillion. There is enough business out there for everybody. What makes you stand out from the crowd is people don't just remember your name. They remember mainly how you make them feel, and that's what brings them back. So it's always thinking, how am I going to make my guests, who you have said are your gods, how am I going to make these gods feel amazing? You know, I was in the hotel in Delhi, and I came back from the office, and the man at the lift said, "Good evening, Miss Carol." I nearly fell over. I was looking behind me thinking, who is this Miss Carol? How does this person know my name? Do you know, that absolutely delighted me to the fact that I'm now telling you about it. It is a tiny thing. It's the small things that make a massive difference. And we all harp on about cost, 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 cost. It is an experience. In our world, we have the pillars, and the people are the most important part of our pillars. Then sustainability, then technology, then cost. Cost comes last, because if you haven't set out your stall, how can you work out the cost? And if you've set out your stall, you've set your criteria, you then negotiate competitively based on what you've said. You don't start with, I want a Mini, and then you say, but I want a Rolls-Royce service. It has to be the other way around. Tell me about the Rolls-Royce, and somewhere in the middle we will meet and we will compromise. So I think it's really about an experience. It's about taking on everything that's out there. It's not assuming that everybody's the same, so have choice, differences, and making people understand the environment that they're going into and learn and teach them to embrace that. You know, when we talk about DEI, you know, a lot of companies ask their staff to do unconscious bias training. I've always laughed at that, because if it is not in your heart to be a nice person, no amount of putting me in front of a screen and telling me to answer a question and do a survey is going to make me a nice person. You know, it really isn't. But what will change my mindset and my behavior is to spend 15 days in India and get to know you. You know? That's the differences. They're the small changes that we need to make, and that's what's important. Companies need to recognize and listen to their people. Don't say, feel fidelity. What does that mean? If I'm feeling fidelity, it's because you're giving me a reason to feel fidelity. And the only way that you can do that, I think someone was saying about, you know, you need to travel and you need to understand your travelers and what they want. That's the most important thing. Embrace change. Understand what you're going into, educate, and don't make any assumptions.
Such wise words. Thank you, Carol. So just to summarise, as we're coming towards the end of the session, and I want to leave some time for questions, if anyone has any, get them ready. What's really stood out for you today?
Well, I have to give Ravi the praise. Is it Ravi?
Yeah.
That talked, no, not Ravi, it must be Prasanna. Whoever it was, who said...
Oh, it was Prasanna.
Prasanna.
Yeah.
Curious, choosy, culture, cost.
The 4 C's.
The 4 C's. You cannot sum it up better. Being curious is the piece around educating your people, that pre-selection. Understanding, you know, what it is that they want and why they're choosy. You know, but giving them choice. And then you've got culture. What's the appetite? This comes with your policy, the changes in your company, the changes in behavior, and what people can do. I'm sorry, I'm going to try and remember my C's. So I've got culture, I've done choosy, culture,
cost,
and what was the other one before cost?
Curious.
Curious. So curiosity is about, where am I going, what are we doing? Choosy is describing what you want. Culture is appetite. And do we have the appetite? What does our policy say? What can we do? So what's within the confines of that? And based on that, you then look at your cost and you provide the service that you need. So in terms of summing up, I think the 4 C's definitely summing up. And then the most beautiful thing for me, having been here, is when someone described traffic to me as ruby and pearls. Amazing.
I think there's 2 things. We're all going to have the 4 C's in our programs, and next time our children are complaining about being stuck in traffic jams, they'll say they're rubies and pearls. So crack on. So we just have a couple of minutes left. Are there questions from the audience, from the room? If not, I'll have a question to everybody else. Out of curiosity, by show of hands, how many in the room actually have an established service apartment program as part of your accommodation offering? So we're coming to you. Very interesting. Well, I hope then, this session especially has been supporting in a lot of concepts and coming from experience from Carol. So unless there's any questions, I'm going to applaud Carol and end the session there.
Thank you so much, Carol and Jess. With that, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause to all of you who are sitting here. Come on, give it up for yourself. Thank you so much for coming forward and being a part. With that, we call it a day.